Hi everybody, Miss Kathy back for the rest of the story about Mars. Can you say our planet order? Obviously, we've got the Sun, that's right, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, and Mars. So I wanted to read a little bit to you or share some more up-close pictures out of one of our Kids Discover magazines about the planets, and I turned to the Mars page. Also, I have my Kingfisher Science Encyclopedia that you may have some of these at home. If you do, you can look through and see if there's anything in it about the planets that you can read a little bit more or have your mom or dad read to you a little bit more. Let's start with this one. Remember yesterday, or actually that's when I made the video, that I was telling you about dust storms on Mars. Well, here is a typical picture of what Mars looks like from outer space. And this is what it looks like when it's having a dust storm. You can't see the polar ice caps anymore, barely, but it looks like smooth red, like a smooth red surface, like somebody kind of polished that or dipped it in red paint perhaps. But it says, I'm just going to read this little part here to you. It says, the picture on the left is a typical view of Mars. The image on the right shows the planet totally covered in a dust storm. When it is summer in Mars's southern hemisphere, remember we talked about that Mars has seasons. So when it's summer, sunlight heats the dust. This heating can trigger a small dust storm that keeps growing until it covers the entire planet. I'm sorry, I'm wiggling. It takes weeks for the dust to settle back down to the surface. Isn't that crazy? That it can have a dust storm that can cover the entire planet. That was kind of like when we've had some volcanoes erupt. I think I've told you before about when Mount St. Helen up in the state of Washington erupted and Mr. Barber was in high school. It completely turned the sky dark and black. He lived in Portland, Oregon at the time. You couldn't even see to drive. And you had 2 or 3 feet of ash and soot all over your car like you would in a snowstorm, but it was an ash storm. So here's another picture of the surface of Mars. It's a little closer up. And I'm going to read this part to you. It says, as Mars rotates, most of its surface becomes visible to telescopes. These 4 images were taken 6 hours apart. Let me move that over a little bit. Light orange sand and volcanic gravel create bright and dark areas. In these views, morning haze appears on the left edge of the planet, where the sun is just rising. Fleecy afternoon clouds appear on the right side of the planet as the sunset approaches. So you can see that's how they know it has an atmosphere, because they can see these clouds. But what kind of an atmosphere does it have? Does it have one that humans could live in? Or animals or plants? No, not at this point. Scientists have thought for many years that maybe they could build a habitation on Mars. They've even made movies about it. But you would have to be inside of kind of like a terrarium, basically, or inside of a dome or something that you could create your own air to breathe, that you could grow plants inside of. They could still get the sunshine. And that you could pull a dark black cover on it, because you might need to protect yourself from the greater heat or the heat of the sun, since it has a very minimal atmosphere. Okay, take a look. Remember I was telling you about the Rover? Well, the Rovers, this magazine said our copy work yesterday, or for today, says that it started in 2003, the Rover missions, but this says in 2004, NASA landed 2 small rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, on Mars. The vehicles are the size of lawn tractors. So that would be like the size of a riding lawnmower. basically. They're solar powered and have a small computer brain for finding their way around the rocky Martian surface. They have been sending back pictures of Mars, and they never thought they would still be going. I haven't checked this week or lately, but the Mars rovers were still going last year, as far as I know. I may be mistaken in that. Here's, I just wanted to show you this picture of the surface of Mars. A huge system of canyons called Valles Mariannes or Mariannes, that's a French word, and I'm probably botching that up badly, is etched into the Martian surface, so the surface of Mars. The canyons stretch across the planet for over 2,000 miles, the width of the United States. So the canyons are the width. Let's take a look at our Earth. I'm going to keep that there for a second. Take a look at our Earth. So the canyons are the whole width of part of North America, the United States. And that, remember what we've said, is that Mars is smaller than Earth. It's not, this is not quite the right size compared to our globe. It should be a little bit bigger, but it's pretty close. But those canyons basically cover almost the entire planet Mars. Here's one more. This is that volcano Olympus Mons that I was telling you about. And remember, this is an aerial view. It's like, just like I'm taking the camera picture of it here. The largest volcano in the solar system, Olympus Mons, is on Mars. The volcano is thought to be inactive. That means it's not erupting anymore, because the planet's interior has cooled off since Mars formed, and this says about 4.5 billion years ago. It could have been that long ago. It could have been a lot sooner. With God, we don't know the timetable. Okay, take a look. Here's a couple of where large meteors hit into Mars and left craters. That is pretty cool. And there's one, let's see if I can find it.